What's up, guys? Here's the last of it, and I'm waiting for an excavator to get over here because this bitch is like 9,000 pounds altogether. There's a block over there, the ass part that came off this weekend sometime. Today's gonna be the last day touching up all of this stuff. There's a bunch of oil that came out of this motor, so I'm just watering it way down. So I'm watering it down a lot. Like a lot. What I'm gonna do right now is not slip. I'm gonna get my torch set out. I am one person that always carries their PPE with them. So this here is just a jacket cover that you can just put over your shirt. Next I have my welding hood that is hooked onto some TIG rod. Pop some stuff off. Get some quick connects for this. I have a lot of things coming at Amazon. Some things I got held back as well. Let's torch the last of this baby up. And yeah, the job here on this part here will be done anyways. Still oil coming out of it, and I have oil all over my shoes. Or my boots, whatever. I don't do this every day, so I don't have any non-slip shit. Probably will get some in the future. Quick connects for my torch tank are definitely in the works. Our people's faces don't need to be seen. I'm not disrespectful like that.
This here's my assistant, David.
Your assistant.
Sorry.
Okay, how am I gonna go about this? Oh, I just fucked that up, didn't I? Alright, so I'm about to cut up some 1/2 inch and a cross member right here for the forklift where that dash was on the other one. There's absolutely no preheating going into this at all. So if you guys want to know where I learned to torch, was just self-practice, and it's pretty much like watching other people do it, like Jocelyn Trades on Facebook, how he cuts thick-ass metal because he works on heavy equipment. So one thing that I learned is when you're going to go and cut thick-ass metal is just to have a cherry when you're first starting, start before it, but also have that cherry and that flower on the metal. It's called a flower when you have just a concentrated spot from the torch. And then when you have enough heat going into the actual metal itself, you can continue on and just travel away. I had to take a break after this for a second to readjust. To start off again, make sure you have your heat all the way up, have a cherry before you cut, and just start cutting. You also want to make sure, for another tip, is to make sure that your torch tip is elevated. You have to manually elevate it with your arms and keep it above 1/8 of an inch. When I get new hoses for my torch, my new torch hoses, I'm probably going to put some heat shrink on them. That way the ends won't go fucked up. So what I mean by fucked up is they will start to turn and start to kink, and it'll block the oxygen and the acetylene from coming out, and it'll ruin your cut and cut you off. This time here I started from a far end, and then I just kept myself elevated, used my other arm to hold the hoses and my arm at the same time. If you were to do like a heavy equipment or some kind of line boring or whatever the heck it may be, if you were to cut up some brand new material, you would have to do a jagged edge, which is a practice test at first, and then that's when you gotta like really know your shit, because a straight line, it's a straight line, and when you get a straight line, then that's your professional line that you're like, hey, I'm gonna work with you. This here is just a basic cut to get the other half of the body off of this forklift. This popping here is me getting too close to the metal, which then creates splashes of like lava, sort of, but the fire's everywhere. Right about here is where I end up getting cold metal. So I try to make the decision of either going from the edge again, or I stay where I'm at, heat that spot up because it's already heated up from the torch, and try to save myself at least a minute or two of preheating one little corner again. So here in a second you're going to see the body leaning from me cutting from the actual axle to the body itself. At this point it was already ready for the excavator to come.
I'm currently doing some research on the excavator that they have. It's a Cat 380. So that is what came over and tipped over to the other side of this forklift. He was wondering about the process that I'm doing and how I do what I do and how to cut through the metal. So I was just explaining it to him. I told him that I took out all the tubing yesterday so I can have a free flow and no abrasions and no cutoffs and no tugs and shit like that when I go to cut.
Feel like this right here? This is in my way, so I'm just gonna hurry up and cut it.
Alright, so hear me out. I was trying to take off both wheels on both axles on both sides, but I couldn't because there's bolts that go on the inside of the rim and I couldn't figure out how to get them off, but it is what it is. So I even tried to find YouTube videos about this freaking forklift and how to take off all the mechanical stuff, but I couldn't figure it out. They are inside locked lugs. The same thing that I did on the other side before it was flipped, I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side here. The motor and trans were still good, so they salvaged it and then they sold it to somebody else. pretty much it. Forklifts are done.